So can you people see my screen?
Yes.
All right, great. So we had a brief, so I'll try, I'm rushing somewhere. That's why Isaac requested that I present first. So we had a meeting in the morning with the Ujana team, and we discussed a few things. So the communication that we're going to have is to, based on my presentation and Isel's, because we've run through both presentations. Isel has talked more about, her presentation is more on, communication per se, and mine is also about communication, but also aspects of life, managing day-to-day life as a communication person. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is, the topic today was think fast, and think fast, talk smart. So you see, usually everybody is a communicator. Every single person, you always have something to say. You have something you want to share with the world, or to share with your mom, or to share with your friends. So the first thing you always need to ask yourself is, why must you speak up as a communicator? Because, or not even as a communicator, why must you speak up? Here's the thing: if you have something that, maybe an idea that you want to share with the world, maybe a request that you want to talk to your parents about, or maybe something you want to talk to your supervisor about, or your teacher, unless you voice that thing, they may not be able to know. So the thing is, you have to be able to be in a position that you have to talk. So the first thing we all need to do, we all need to be aware of, is you must always be able to communicate. Because if you have this thing happening in your mind and you don't say it, where I am, I'm not a mind reader. I will not be able to interpret that there's something that is going on. There's some, some really good ideas dancing in, in Shabbat's head right now. So you must be able to talk about it. That's the first step. Now, the second thing is this idea that you have, that you want to talk about. Who is the right person? For example, let's say I want to talk about contraceptives. There's a Catholic bishop somewhere. Do you think if I wanted to communicate to people or to an audience about contraceptives, the right person to go to is this Catholic bishop? Because as we all know, these people are, there's a way they do not believe in contraceptives. Sorry if believe is a strong word. So ideally what I'm trying to say is, you need to get to understand who is your target audience before you go and speak to this person. Because this target audience should be able to advance whatever it is that you're talking about. If it is an idea and I take it to my boss, will my boss be able to escalate it? If it is a proposal that I want, there's a proposal that I have and I need a budget. If I go to my boss, will I be able to get the budget? Because maybe I have this proposal that is really good, then I go and talk to my mom about it, but it is work related. Is my mother in a position to advance this conversation in the work environment? So it's very simple. It doesn't matter whether it's at home or it's at work, or it's at school, or it's with your friends. Always ensure that the person you want to talk to, and this idea that you want to talk about, is able to advance this to the next stage. Now, the other thing that you need to consider when you want to talk or when you want to communicate is, when do you speak? When do I speak to someone? Like, I'll also try and use most of a work example, and you'll forgive me, or even home examples. So let's say when you're growing up and you're at home and you've probably seen this really beautiful dress that you want. But previously during the day, you were cleaning the house, and then you broke your mom's thermos, and then your mom was like, wewe, ebu anza kukatika unifurahishe ama nitakuwa. Ama anakuambia vunja tu glasses zote, and things like that. And then you also have this beautiful dress that you want your mom to buy. Do you think, once you've broken these glasses or broken this thermos, do you think this is the best time to go to your mom and say, hey mom, I saw this really nice dress that I want you to buy for me? It's not possible, because she's really somehow angry at you. So that is not the best time to speak to somebody about whatever you want to do. For example, I remember this time at work, our boss was not really happy with something that was happening. So she came in the morning and she didn't keep quiet. She went on and on and on about it. But at the same time, there's some really nice ideas that we wanted to talk to her about. Do you think when she is really not in the mood, or you've somehow annoyed her in one thing, do you think this is the best time to go and tell your boss, so there's this proposal that we have been working on and we think you'd look at it? No. So ideally, before you talk to somebody, before you communicate, before you share an idea, just first look at, is the environment conducive? Is this person in a good mood? will they listen to me? Will they buy it? So don't go to somebody probably when they're angry. Just look at, a good time, and, when you can approach them and talk about this thing that you want to talk about. The other thing is, how ready will you be to get the feedback after? So you've decided to speak up. Okay, you've been told speak up. You've pointed out the person that, okay, I'm going to speak to Isel about this, or I'm going to speak to Walter, or I'm going to speak to Faith. And then you've found the perfect time. Probably you're having lunch, and Leo, we're having chicken cook, and I know Walter loves food, so this is the best time to go and talk to Walter. So you're pumped up. You're like, yeah, this is it now. So you go to Walter, and then you talk to Walter. Walter looks at you, and Walter tells you, go and think about it. I don't think what you're presenting to me really makes sense. And you see, you've put in your effort, probably consulted your peers, and you're like, this thing is solid. So when you go there and you're told, go and think about it, what happens? Because I'm sure when you're told yes, you're going to be very happy. Sometimes, so three things are going to come out. Walter might tell you, Dion, this is really good. I'm going to look into it. Walter might say, Dion, I don't think you really thought through this. Go and sit back and just think through before you come back to me. And Walter will say, wait. So what happened? So these are things that happen in real life. Isel will be able to talk about handling rejection in her presentation. So you always need to expect all these things, that when you speak up, you need to know whom you're speaking to, when you speak to them, and how to handle feedback. And feedback will always not be positive in communication. Sometimes it is negative, and sometimes it is weight. So that is the first part of my presentation. The second part that I decided to talk about is the power of mentorship. You see, usually even you're shaped by the people who are around you. You end up speaking like the people who are around you. You end up writing like the people who are around you. You groom yourself like the people who are around you. Say you have, I'll use Isel a lot because Isel is my supervisor. The days when I joined PAL Network, I'd sent some, maybe a one-page document to Isel, and she'd send it back to me. And I'd really feel angry. I was like, why can't she see that I'm putting in so much effort, But over time, I've come to realize that I somehow end up thinking like her. I somehow am walking slowly into her footsteps. So sometimes she might start something, and then she'll hand over and say, you know what, Dion, I think you're in a position to handle this, so I'm handing it over to you. So what I'm trying to say is, who are your friends? Are they the people that are going to shape you, or are they the people that are going to change who you are? For example, in my life currently, most of my friends are going back to school. Most of my friends are, trying to, do their own businesses. So what are your friends telling you to do? When you sit around, when you hang out with these people, how are they shaping you? Because these people also help you build your brand. Because usually they say that when one potato is rotten, the entire sack gets spoiled. So it's something I think we've all had since we were growing up. And it's something you really need to look into, because you see, when your supervisor walks into the office dressed up really nicely, that is already presentation. And you come into the office wearing jeans, your hair is ragged like my hair is right now. I'm sorry, I'm using myself as an example. But so it's the small things that you need to, people around you should be able to shape you. Now, when we talk about your mentors, I just asked myself a question. This person who is mentoring me, is age a factor? I don't think so. Usually, even people who are supervising you, who are teaching you, they may be your age mates. You might even be surprised that sometimes your supervisor might be younger than you. But how do you take that positively to be able to grow? Okay. There's also the aspect where the people who are older, but it will take you to get to that point. Now, once you've been mentored into by this person that is shaping you, this person you want to emulate as a communicator, this person you want to write like, or you want to talk like, or you want to do your business like, after this person has shaped you to be who you are, how do you give back? Are you also going to be able to hold somebody else's hand and say, I learned this from my supervisor, I learned this from my boss, how about handing it over to somebody? So there's a generation of people who are always mentoring people. So when you go up there, there's a list of people who can communicate really well, deliver their, products, services, whatever it is that you're doing really well. And now the other thing I want to talk about is the power of drawing your vision board, or just writing it, or owning your future. Even in communication, you probably want to achieve something, but you have to think about it right now. Okay. I remember like 2 or 3 years ago, and a vision board, it doesn't have to be complicated. About 3 years ago, I wrote somewhere on a wall, and I just wrote on a wall and I just stuck it, and I said, a new job, a new house, a new car, and I just left it. So at some point, I really got frustrated because all these things are not coming to be. But then later in life, when I turned 30 and 31, I'll not talk about my age, I came to realize that some of the things that I had written about when I was angry, when I didn't know what I want, when I didn't have, a way forward, they somehow, reflected, they somehow manifested. So it's about positioning yourself when you're still, when you don't even know where you're going to. It will somehow guide you. I don't know if there are any questions to this point. If you're getting a bit confused, please just let me know before I proceed. Shabat, maybe if you want to handle that for me.
Yes, so anyone with a question until there?
Yeah.
Anyone with a question until there? Before we proceed? Anyone with a question?
Okay.
I think Dion, you can proceed. I don't see any questions so far. So Madam Dion, yeah.
All right. Thank you. And then I remember when we were having a conversation with Koigi in the morning today, Koigi talked about, self-confidence, self-expression, having hope and stuff like that. So I looked at my presentation as a way of telling the youth that it's always okay to, sometimes where you are right now, you want them to be, but you just have to always stay positive. You need to ensure that you have, good networks around you. And in that way, you'll be able to position yourself for winning. Have friends whom will be able to send you, how do I call it? If there's a job opportunity somewhere, let them mention your name. If there's something that they feel like you can do, let them send it to you. And then we also need to take risks when you're still really young. And I think what Isel and I discussed, Isel, I think I've captured almost everything that we discussed. Sorry, I'm in a rush. I have something that I need to do very urgently. I'm very sorry.
Thank you, Dion. Thank you for that presentation. We can wait for maybe 1-2 minutes if anyone has a question for Madam Dion. Okay, maybe Dion, maybe before you leave us, you probably maybe I put in a question there before you leave us. What happens when let's say you're maybe dealing with a boss, maybe a parent, maybe a peer in your life, somebody who's older than you maybe, and he or she always feels like he's right, like his point has to be right all the time. And in the process, you're always hurt. In the process, you know that at that point you are right, but he always imposes his will on you. How do you communicate with such a person? How do you deal with such a person in an event like this? Because many of the times we meet people who always feel like, they are right all the time. They want to impose what they have on you, even if they're hurting you in the process. So how do you deal with such a person? How do you communicate with such a person? Do you accept and say, because of the sake of the peace, let us keep the peace? Maybe he's your boss, or do you find a way to communicate? So maybe you could answer that question. I don't know if you've got the question.
Yes. Yes, Shabat, I've gotten your question, and I think most of us go through that every other time. at one point in your life, you're going to meet somebody who you feel like is a bit difficult. You need to appreciate that we are all very different, okay? The way you're brought up is not the same way I'm brought up. Where I come from in the morning is not the same way where you're coming from in the morning. So probably you have your own challenges, while your boss probably has challenges in the morning when he's coming from. So when he comes to work, he's already angry. Now, the other thing this is where emotional intelligence comes in, because this is your boss, okay? You do not want to, your boss will always be your boss. It doesn't matter if they're a bit stubborn. You just have to strike a balance and see how you will work with them. The first thing is you have to know that you should not be able to hurt their ego, because if you hurt their ego, that will also affect you somehow. So try very hard not to shout back or get angry at them, and try and understand them. The other thing is, if you get to talk to these people every day, you may be able to understand what they like. Okay, you'll be able to understand now, if I talk to this person about this, maybe we might click. So when you get that opportunity to bring in that, that angle, can you at this point introduce that thing that you feel like I've been wanting to tell my boss this, that when I was telling you, is it the right time to speak when they're in a good mood? And sometimes when you're just laughing, tell them, hey, I feel like generally nikanyagia sana, But the thing is, number one, you have to always understand that your boss will always be your boss. It doesn't matter whether you feel like they're an ass, sorry for using that word, but you have to respect them. Try and find a way of working with them, because somebody in power might also find a way to frustrate you. And when things get really, really tough, there are always people that you can consult, okay? And I think each and every organization should be in a position to offer that support to people. Even find a close, maybe somebody from the organization that you can talk to and tell them, I feel this is what is going on. What do you think we should do? And that should be able to guide you. That's how I'd go about it. But number one is, don't ever get angry, don't shout, don't, yeah. But also learn from it, so that when you become a boss, do not reflect that person that you're complaining. Or maybe what if you're also the problem, Shabbat?
True.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dion, for that presentation. Unless there's a question, we can let them Dion leave us for now. Any question? Any question from the audience?
Dion, did you talk about how to hone your communication skills? Because some of us as youth, sometimes we have a problem communicating with people of high authority, or people who are our boss, like you've just mentioned, you and Isel. So how do you build a good relationship? How do you communicate with those people who are of higher authority? And how do you ensure also, from what Shabat was saying, that you don't end up having that conflict, that one person is always right?
Okay, first thing, there are quite a few challenges that I've seen with the young people nowadays. You need to, your boss will always be your boss. It doesn't matter if you're age mates, like I said, and there has to be that kind of respect. And it also starts with how you communicate with your bosses. For example, I'll be able to tell you that I never just write my boss messages on WhatsApp. I find it a bit funny. I'd not do WhatsApp calls. If it's very urgent, I'll send an email, or I'll also, send an email or drop a text. So those are some of the things that you people, I feel the younger generation, most of you feel like your bosses are your mates. The fact that they're easy, there's a clear distinction. It doesn't matter, but your boss will always be your boss, no matter how open and easy they are. Secondly, when you're communicating with your bosses, even if it's on a text or it's on WhatsApp or on email, ensure that it's the simple things, grammar, full stop, language. In the morning, I was told that I need to, tone my language when I'm speaking to you. I cannot speak Sheng. I don't know how to speak Sheng. Sometimes I struggle with Swahili. So, for example, when you're writing a text to your boss, how about you just write it in English and then follow the correct grammatical order, like full stop, check this thing before you send it, and things like that. Don't just do things that are half done and then you send. And then when your boss calls you, there's always that they're not your mates. Do not treat your boss as your mate. Okay. So number one is always ensure, like I said, you have to be really well groomed. If your boss says you have to go for a meeting right now, please be presentable enough to go for a meeting. Write really well. Use the proper channels. Walter, I'll say that is some of the things that we people need to learn. And yeah, basically, I don't know if Walter have answered the communications aspect of it. We discussed it, so she'll be able to touch on a few of this. I don't know if Walter have answered your question.
I think you have.
Mr. Walter.
I think
Okay.
she has. I think she has. But then there's this aspect where you have like that easy kind of relationship with your boss. How do you then put the barrier, this distinction between this is official, and then this is now us having an informal conversation?
I think it's just about drawing boundaries. Personally, there's one book that I think every youth should be able to read. There's this book called 48 Laws of Power. It's a very smart book that if you have some, you can spare some money, you can save 3 months, go and buy it. It will be able to teach you about how to survive in such kind of places. Yes, you might have an informal relationship with your boss, but you have to learn how to draw the boundary, Walter. Your boss will not tell you how to draw the boundary. You just have to learn it. And maybe Isaac will also talk about that. Faith was asking something before I had, yes, Faith.
Yes. Hi, Dion, and thank you for your presentation. My question is on social media. How do you strike the balance when you want to, for instance, you run the social media for your organization, and also you have your own private social media, which you normally use to boost this, where you can use your personal social media page for professional things, and also use it for your own personal things, like if you want to talk about it in a page, or things that are they're not work related.
When it comes to personal social media and relating it to work, the one thing, whatever you post on your social media, is it something that aligns to the values of your organization? That is the first thing. For example, I know Pearl Network is passionate about, ensuring children learn and all that. Then I go and post something, that speaks of what organization, I think that speaks against what my organization is advocating for. How do you know? It's about you come to social media to post your work, but what you need to be, if somebody were to take what I'm posting on my social media account and relate it to the work, will my organization be proud to have me? Such kind of questions. So there's nothing wrong. You could use your personal social media account to, don't do that.
Thank you, Madam Dion, for such insightful words. Any more questions for Madam Dion? Any more questions?
All right.
I think anyone who has any question for Madam Dion concerning the presentation before we let her go.
All right.
Yeah. I think Madam Dion wamekuruhusu unaweza enda sasa. Thank you for that. Thank you for that presentation. I've really learned a lot, and I'm sure everyone has learned. And tunashukuru sana. So if there's no other question, if there's no other any other input from the audience, I think we can let Madam Dion leave, and we have a presentation from Madam Isel Kipruto.
Thank you so much, Shabat. I'll just stay in the background and mute, but I'll listen as I work on something. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Juma, and of course, Dion, for the presentation. I'm wondering if we should have a virtual energizer. I think we've been sitting for 30 minutes. Can we do something? Tuchangamke. Mimi sina virtual energizer, but naomba one of us atoe energizer.
Na nominate Morgan for an online on energizer.
No. Well,
Morgan.
I've been still. I didn't expect that I'll have an online of energizer, but I know next time I'll do that. Hello?
Amekupata off guard hapo.
Yeah. Now I'll have to research on type of online energizers that one can give.
It can even be a joke. It can be, it can be anything, just for, for a change before we go to the next presentation.
Or then we have Philip. Philip
amenominatiwa. Madam Aiza alafu ndio mpata kila mtu off guard kwa energizer.
Basi Faith, the last one, Faith. Faith Mukiria.
Walter, I am blank. That's a challenge for the next session.
Yeah, then utatusamia this time, alafu next time we'll try and get some energizer.
Sawa, but I think people are now alert. Kama kulikuwa na mtu alikuwa amelala kidogo amechangamka.
Umewa stress wakamka.
Sawa.
Yeah.
So let me share my screen. Is it clear? I think I saw one of the comments was that can you make the presentations a bit larger? I don't know if you're all seeing this.
Aizel, what you need to do, on presentation mode, there's this thing down here, your presentation, then it will be like, okay, yeah, that way. Now it's clear.
Munaona sasa?
Yeah, very clear.
Great.
Okay.
So thank you so much, Zizi and all the participants. It's really a great pleasure to be here and to just have this conversation on communication for work and also communication for life. How do you communicate to ensure that you are happy, you are at peace with yourself and also others. So I've just done a small presentation. I hope you will find it helpful. So first, we just also talk about what I do. So Dion and I work for Zizi, for PAL Network. Of course, we support Zizi in most of the comms things. My background is education. So I'm a teacher by profession, but when I graduated, I went straight to communication. Communications, it was a new space for me. And I've been trying my best and till now. So it's been like 9 years so far, and I'm happy and I like what I currently do for PAL Network. So what I just want to emphasize, also building on what Dion has said, is really everything is about communication. For you to do anything, it's about communication. You have to communicate verbally. You have to communicate with, even at home, at work, everywhere. You just have to speak up. If in case you are stuck, you have to communicate. If you are seeking something, you have to communicate. So I think it is an important skill for each and every one of us, because that is the core of everything. And I wanted to focus more on communication at a personal level, like more of branding. How do you brand yourself? What are the things that you need to take into consideration as you brand yourself and bring the aspect of communication so that you can really achieve what you want in life, and also in terms of work, reaching that peak in your career. So the first thing is to understand your current positioning, what you are currently doing, what is your current environment. And I'll just give examples, because 9 years ago, I was like most of you, just a youth, just finished college, and I was looking for job, applying jobs everywhere. So this was 2011. On the left, you can see Dr. John Mugo. He was my supervisor at that time. On the right, it's me, and then in the middle, it's a lady we were working with. She's now working for the Ministry of Gender and something. And then the photo on the right, I think I had gone to Uganda. I think it was about launching the WEZO report. That time I was working for WEZO. So what I've come to appreciate, even in this, when you're positioning yourself, communication goes hand in hand with your character and your reputation. So your character is what you are as a person. So how do you present yourself? How do you do things? And how does that come hand in hand with communication? And then the photo on the right, these. So it's really important to guard your reputation as a youth, as an individual, because people will vouch for someone they have belief in, someone who is reliable, someone who they know they can do this work really well. So it's important for you to communicate about what you do, to position yourself to opportunities. You have to take into consideration the aspect of character and reputation. I see nowadays people, of course, will put an advert, but at the back of their minds, they have someone in mind. But why is it that they prefer to, bring someone they know? It's because of their character and reputation. So people will reach out to you. They will communicate to you, hey, there's this position. We will really appreciate if you can come and work for us. So you see, people are vouching for you. People are inviting you to their space, but it's because of your reputation and your character. So I think communication goes hand in hand with these two things, and it's something that we just have to build as youth and as young people. So this was 2011, and I and other people that we were just working at WES at that time, we did try our best, of course, ensuring that you are not caught up in these, nasty situations that damages your reputation. And then the other part of communicating, it's not just about you communicating, but also how you communicate to others. It's really important. It makes a difference. So communicating to others is verbal. It's also non-verbal communication, how you treat people. And through this, people always, you refer you. People will say, like, this person, I think we can have this person, we can give this person an opportunity because even of the things that he or she is doing. So on the left, it is, I was in West Pokot. I had just gone to a school, it's called Pokorotit Secondary School. It's a school, it's when you are in a place called Cheska, you go up like 13 kilometers and the road is really bad. So you have to go by using a motorcycle, 13 kilometers up, meandering those very tricky situations. And then on the photo in the middle, it's the work I do, and supporting girls who are vulnerable, to just to give them a decent life and help them stay in school. And on the right, I think Morgan can talk about this, where we've been participating in the Mandela Washington Fellowship and trying to disseminate information when there are opportunities. And then the photo at the far right is just supporting the work at community level about improving literacy outcomes for children in primary and secondary school. So all this work is really about communicating, because through this you communicate to people what you really want in life, and through that people reach out to you. People send you opportunities that you can try, and that way you become happy as a person, and also in terms of career, because these things that you do on volunteer basis, it also end up creating a path for your community, for your success. And then the other thing is envision where you want to be. So as an individual, you have to be to know where you want to be, say in 5 years or in 10 years. But then how do you bring the aspect of communication so that you reach where you are? So one thing of course is doing great work. Try your best to do and to ensure that you deliver. If you are working for an organization, do your best. Like Dion said, it's the small things that really matter. If you are given a task, say by your supervisor, by your parents, or by whoever, do it to the greatest or to the best of your knowledge. And that the right, in the left side is I was participating in the Mandela Fellowship. So this was in Kansas. In the middle, it's an opportunity I had 2016. It was about encouraging Kenyans to participate in the World Bank youth event in DC. So again, the other part of communication is don't just say, I think there is this opportunity, but mimi siwezi hiyo, sioni kama nitamanage. No, always try. And if you don't get, I'm sure you will keep trying. At the end of it, you will succeed. So like this event, I just applied. I didn't going to get it, but then I went to when I got the invitation, I went to my boss, because that time I didn't even know, like these opportunities. I didn't know what it means even to get a visa. I didn't know what it means even to travel out of the country. And just to go and speak to my supervisor. So you see, the other part is trying out and reaching out to people whom you think can help you. So after getting this opportunity, I went to my supervisor and I told him, I have this opportunity. I'm requesting for your support. I don't have money to travel, and it will be a great opportunity for me, because it will open doors for me. It will help me meet new friends, meet new people, learn new things, get that exposure and all that. So you have to put down your write up and justify why this thing will help you. So here, written communication, not just a verbal, but put down something and try to put justification why this will help you. So the aspect of written is very important that we really need to embrace as young people, because some people they know they can help us, but then we can't reach out to them. Maybe like now during coronavirus, most of us are at home. There's an opportunity, but then you are like, my boss is in Nairobi. I'm trying to call him, he's not picking. Just to go to your email and write something, say, I'm thinking of this, can you please help me? You see, so don't shy away, always try, both verbal and written communication. And the last photo is this is still related to the first photo, where we were in the Mandela Fellowship. So I just reached out to some people, because I know there was a session on education, and I was like, I feel comfortable moderating this session. Can you give me this opportunity? So it was like, yes, we would be glad if you can do this. So always looking for opportunities, I think for me is something that I've come to appreciate. And this is where communication comes in. Reach out to people whom you know they can support you. Also communicate in a way that presents your desires. The last part, plan in place to make that personal vision a reality. So just to go back to what I said earlier is ask and seek. Always ask and seek. No one knows what you want in life unless you talk. Just like what Dion said, speak up. Because I know most of us young people, we have many things, we have many aspirations, and you are like, hata nikimwambia my father, hakuna kitu kusema. You know, you always conclude to things like it won't work, or I know it will be rejected and such kind of things. But you know, just try. You never know. And always try things. Work, even when it comes to promotion. So sometimes maybe your boss thinks like you've not done much, but you know, just ujitetee. And I'm sure ataona yenyewe hapa pengine umefanya kazi and you need to be promoted. But then people will not know. So what I've come to appreciate in life is the power of communicating. When you want something, speak up. Always speak up, and you have the right person. The issue of timing, like what Dion said, know when to reach out to this. When is the best time? When is it that they are in a good mood and they can listen to me? And then the of presentation, I think it's listen to you. They look at how you are, how you've dressed, how you've groomed yourself. So as young people, I know there is this of what is it called, fashion and all that. Of course, it's good to be fashionable, but always be modest. And also, it depends with where you are really, because if you are attending a party, of course, you cannot be very official. If you are attending an interview, or you are attending, you know, just look at what you are attending and make yourself presentable according to what you are attending. In terms of writing, I think this is something that I've come to appreciate, and it starts with little things. Like what Dion said, that if you are writing to someone, maybe your boss, it depends. I think sometimes there are young people who just you can communicate by embrace, but I think I've come to see most is they don't like when you communicate and you are using these short I don't know, like instead of saying hi, you just, instead of saying hello, or you know, they that, and they don't, you know, everything. So it's about really knowing who you are writing to and trying to tailor the question so that you're able to put up your request in a proper way, in a more touch. The I think what I've experienced is many young people, we are always in a hurry to send things. I think in terms of writing, ensure that whatever you write is free of grammar. Whatever you write is as a subject, like you know, they don't open emails that don't have a subject. So see you, because it's like I'm not reading that it doesn't have as then no, you won't be able to present your idea or present your request. Recently, we were participating in a master class and we were being taught on how to write well. And I remember what the teacher emphasized, the rewrites. So before you click send to that email, and just read again and read it aloud. Because when you read it aloud, you can catch all those mistakes. You can, it's like, you know, and kind of thing. So take time before you click send. And yeah, I think people appreciate things that are well written, and also it tells who you are. Because if you that has grammar error or everything is underlined red, it means this person who is not keen, who is not attention to details. And yeah, people may like, so if you are not able to write small things like emails, how about actual work if I give you? You know, it means it may be difficult for you to deliver. Communication also means that you are able to receive feedback, embrace criticism, and this feedback and criticism to others in a right way. And this is a challenge. It's everywhere, even where we are now, where we work. Of course, you are always like, no, this is not good. Go back to the drawing board, and such. But I think we've always embraced this, and over time you realize that it's good when people are critiquing your work. Of course, you feel bad. Sometimes you even feel like going to the bathroom, washroom, and just crying first, then come back and get courage and start working. But I think it pays, because through that you are able to keep improving. When you look back, say 1 year or so, you'll find that, wow, like now when I look at the emails that I was writing in 2010, I'm telling you they were off. Sometimes I just look at them, I'm like, wow, ili nilikuwa nafikiria hapa. So unaangalia tu unasema enyewe nimetoka mbali. Those emails bad. Yani haikuwa hata na full stop, haikuwa na kila kitu imeanza tu na small letter. Yeah, so this is part of life, but you just have to embrace these things and improve pole pole. Criticism will also, like you at work, you some things and your things, and always you're no, this one. Yeah, go back. How do you handle side things? So I think it's about mental grits and always encouraging yourself that no situation is permanent. This is just, but yeah. So let me just embrace what. The other thing is in terms of communicating is having someone whom you can communicate to. You ideas can give you can improve what you have in mind, what you are, and also this. But then no one. These people may tell you, I think you are in the wrong direction, or may also encourage you that I think you are in the right direction and you are achieving your goals and your vision in life. Communication that I think I've come to appreciate more in the last 9 years is listening. Listen more, talk less. People are to react. But then if we seek to understand what people are saying, perhaps we be more at peace. Also, it's make peace with people, understand them, appreciate what they are coming from, appreciate their differences. But if we are just jumping to what they are saying and we want to react without listening to them keenly, I think I have found that as a big challenge for young people, and also myself sometimes, especially when you are being critiqued. When you are being critiqued, just hold on and finish this other person. Let this other person finish before you react. And above all, let's just be hopeful. I know it's tricky. It's not easy. Even during this time of coronavirus, some of us have lost opportunities. They've lost jobs. Many things are happening. But I know after this, we'll emerge strong. We'll emerge victorious, and life will. Above all, let's seek opportunities. Let's check on. I think it's called opportunities for Africans. You can just Google. They always put up the things that are coming at national level, and these are things you can know. You may get opportunities. They may take you to another step. So, yeah, look out for these and try. And of course, listen. Have people whom you can talk to, even be your parents, always bouncing ideas to them. I'm planning to do this. What do you think this is something that is yield? I've come embrace that children taking just advice from your communication, a day-to-day skill that we have to embrace so that understand others and also other people understand us. Yeah, so I think I've come to an end of my I'll just go back and say we try to communicate as we try to understand others. Reputation and our character is everything. So if we are able to balance three things, I think we'll be able to be happy and be asante.
Madam Isel Kipruto, that's a beautiful presentation. I think I've really learned a lot, and I think the participants also have learned a lot. I get into participants, and I may want to choose from the audience myself also to see if people have been concentrating and listening in, just to see their insight also. But as they prepare for that, maybe Madam Isel Kipruto, just two questions for now. The first one is we all know the debate employment for the youth specifically. We've heard about back as it goes, you know. I think since I was in primary, the 2000, and we were hearing this conversation of lack of employment for the youth. Can you say that effective communication, or rather the lack of communication, has contributed, or rather plays a role for the youth not to get or rather to land opportunities for themselves? Because you've talked about issues like kujitetea, always speak up if you want something. So do you think that communication has played a role for the youth not getting employment? Over to you, Madam Isel.
Thank you very much. I think it is yes and no. Because yes, and I'll just use my example. When I finished college that was 2010. That was 2010 May. I just finished the last paper. So I went home, and you see, basically I was supposed to go and teach high school. So I went home and I'm like, I really don't want to teach because maisha ilikuwa tu imekuwa ngumu for me, and I was like, just life has to improve. So I went home and I told mom and dad, mimi naenda tu Nairobi. Nataka tu kwenda Nairobi. Kama nitaponea huko, washa niponee huko, but I just want to go there and try out new. I don't think I will teach. So they were like, okay, sawa, wakanipea transport, nikakuja Nairobi. So nikaambia, I'm going to this office and I want this person to give me a job, because that time the person was a CEO in one of the big education institutions. So I went to Nairobi, and then I went to the office of this person, and I am like, I've just finished my paper, and yeah, I'm just seeking opportunities. I want something to do. And he's like, lakini sasa si wewe umemaliza tu pepa ya mwisho, hata hauna hata karatasi, ni transcripts tu. And I'm like, yes, I know it's just transcripts, but hata kama nikufagia hapa, I can do, give me something, because I'm not ready to go back to Ravine. I come from Baringo. So akaniambia, sasa wacha nipigie huyu headmistress akupe kazi. So he calls this headmistress in where? Maji Mazuri Girls, because I've done Kiswahili and history. Akamwambia kuna msichana hapa anataka kazi. Sasa si unaweza mwajiri? And then he's like, utampea shilingi ngapi? Huyo mwalimu akamwambia 10,000. So akaniambia, okay, I've talked to this lady, and it will be good for you to just go and teach as you wait to graduate, because right now you don't have papers. I started crying. I felt so frustrated because unajua sasa nimetoka Ravina, nimeshika bag, nimekuja Nairobi. Nairobi, someone is telling me to go back to the village.
Mm-hmm.
And then here you are like, you have help loan, you've not paid, home hakuna pesa, it's just struggle. And someone is telling you to go back. So I was like, no, honestly, I'm not going back. Just to give me something. So I think persistence in communicating is something, because if you seek something, try to follow up, because most of these people, even if they are trying to get you something, sometimes they just forget. So you need to be persistent. If you've sent a request, you better just follow up, say weekly or monthly, until you get what you are looking for. But also, it's true that really the issue of unemployment is real. It is a struggle for young people, and that's why I'm saying it is good to think beyond employment, so that you are also able to employ yourself. But then the other challenge is, you may have an idea, but then your idea need capital. Where do you get capital?
True.
Yeah, so that's the other issue that I think as youth we have to just confront and see how we can address such issues. And also, sometimes you have an idea, but then say you need funding. So who is this person whom you will talk to? And that person will talk to a donor. It's a channel. Yeah, so for me, it's both. It's a challenge that we have to answers as young people, but we should not give up. We should always try and see whatever comes. Yeah, so it's both. It's we need to be proactive in both areas, seeking employment and also trying out employment opportunities that we can create.
Thank you, Madam Isel. Maybe before we invite the audience, one last question, Madam Isel. Now, you've talked about matters to do with communication for life and work, and you touched a little bit on character and reputation, what you are and people think, and what people think you are. And I may want to ask the youth, because we are dealing with the youth right now. So do you think that maybe now the trends of the youth, how we dress, maybe the language, I want to focus on language, the vulgar language that most of the youth today we use, maybe a little bit of sheng, because there's a lot of sheng going on right now, especially for the young people. Do you think that such kind of things prevent us as the youth from moving forward to the next stage of life? Maybe after high school, you went to a school and you learned a lot of sheng, maybe. Personally, for me, that was a struggle before, because I had come from high school and I had we're only speaking sheng, And do you think that has been a barrier for most of the youth? Because we all know that. Okay, I don't know if this is your perspective also of communication, but communication, you always the way you dress and how you talk introduces how you think and who you are before you even tell somebody who you are. So do you think that has been a barrier, for the youth today, Madam Isel?
Thank you. I really don't think it is a barrier, because one thing that I want to emphasize is things are changing. Like during our parents' time, I mean, there was no shame, and they were just able to communicate in whatever way they were able to. But right now, things have changed. There are new ways of doing things. There is technology. There is new fashions. There are new styles. Everything is just changing quickly. Soon, people will just be working from home. So I can't say that is a problem. I think what is important is just to embrace change, and also just understand yourself and also understand others. So I think the most important thing here is self-awareness, and also that is something in related to communication, so that you are able to tailor your communication according to where you are. Because I may be very good in using Sheng, and I don't like using English. But then when I go to work, how do I adjust? So I think it's an issue of flexibility and understanding your environment and adapting accordingly. Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Isaac, for for your good insights. That is wisdom. Now, we may want now to go to the audience, and I may want to choose from the participants who are here to contribute, to ask questions to Madam Aizel concerning the matters to do with communication. And yes, we may begin with maybe Mary Wangui. Mary Wangui, what do you think about the matter? What do you think about the conversation? Mary Wangui. Mary Wangui. Huyo ni kama
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi everyone.
Hi,
I'm
Mary.
happy for the presentation, and I kind of agree about how you present yourself, and also how all that discussion, because it's important to also package yourself in a better way. Yeah.
Thank you, Mary. Maybe Morgan. Morgan, what do you think about the matter? What do you think about the conversation on communication? Any questions, any insight that you may want to present to our panelist? Morgan.
Thank you so much, moderator. And for me, is not a question, but a compliment. I think Aizel has touched on the basic things on communication, on how to present yourself. And the most important thing I think that she has said is to profile yourself, let people know what you are doing. I think that one was my addition. Let people know what you are doing, yeah, because you never know. There is where somebody can reach out to you. Aizel and I have never met, but I remember last year she has alluded to one of the photos that was there in our presentation. We have never met, but last year I was desperately looking for somebody who could do outreach at in Baringo, because I was in West Pokot, and the next day I was supposed to do outreach in Baringo for people to apply for the Mandela Washington Fellowship for the young Africans. And for her, being that somebody knew what she was doing, yeah, and her profile was already outside there, it was easy for me to connect with her, then just send some document that she was supposed to use. And that is how the outreach was done in Baringo. So let people know whatever you are doing, profile yourself well, have a good reputation, yeah, communicate to people. And also it's good to volunteer. Some of these opportunities don't just come, yeah. You have to volunteer sometimes. Most of the things that I do, honestly, I get them through volunteering. When somebody asks, like, could I get somebody who could do this and this, somebody who can do this and this, and that is how you'll get opportunities. It's easier for me to work with somebody or to employ somebody that I've already seen what he or she is doing outside there, instead of you sitting back at home, not doing anything, just doing the application for jobs. You'll do like 1,000 application for jobs and you never get. So you communicate, go outside there, volunteer. And also, again, another thing that she said is, like, always keep trying things, keep trying. Yeah, you never know, somebody might refer to something else. So thank you for that presentation, and also thank you for coming out for me last year when I needed help in Baringo.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. Thank you, Mr. Morgan, for that. Maybe.
This is to Aizel. As youth, sometimes you have this opportunity to attend youth forums or attend in one or the other some events with big people who are in a networking session, for example, or kind of a setting. And we as youth have this challenge in starting a conversation with people who we feel have bigger positions, or people of higher authority. So, and sometimes these frustrations make you say these words like, oh, mi nitaenda tu kwa hiyo forum nikule nitoke, ama mi nitaenda tu nisikie alafu niende. Not forgetting that these are forums that you can also get opportunity to grow and build yourself. So what would you advise as Isel for youth who don't know really how to get to these people, how to start conversations? How would you advise them to start conversations with these people for networking sessions and to maintain these conversations? Because sometimes we even get those contacts, the business cards, but immediately after the event, we try to reach out, then it's a block. So how do we maintain those kinds of communications? Thank you.
Thank you, Walter. So I think what you are trying to say is the issue of networking. How do you network professionally and also maintain those contacts without also not being too much? Because sometimes also as you try to follow up things, people may feel like, "Ay, huyu mtu anasumbua, siangoje." You know, there are those kind of sentiments and such. So I remember when we were attending the fellowship, we were told how to network. So like you go to an event, but then how do you reach out to people even you don't know? So and I think for me it's always challenging. Personally, it's challenging to reach out. I guess because it's my personality. I'm an introvert, and many a times I prefer to be alone. You know, I'm not this kind of person who is out there and talking a lot and such. So we may want to have another session of just networking, and I can also reach out to my the fellows who we participated in the fellowship, because I know this is something they also they attended, and they may bring more insight